Okay, sorry about that, everybody. It seems like... Let me know if you guys can hear me. Twitch just did something really funny and it wasn't letting me through. Okay, so good news. Hopefully we're back. Bad news, the computer still doesn't remember the tablet, so that's a thing. We're gonna try and re-download the driver. I thought about just doing this off the air, but I'm not sure how long this is gonna take, and that seemed kind of lame. Not that this is an incredible amount of fun, but hey, at least we can hang out for a second. PTZ 630, good old Intuos 2? Good lord, this is an old tablet. Help me out, Wacom. I don't know why it does this every now and then, it's such a pain in the foot. Let's see... Neat. I'm not even... Okay, so... Previous generation, Intuos 3. What Intuos 3? You're an Intuos 2, right? No, it's an Intuos 3. Amazing. Okay, so this might just do the trick. Let's give that a whirl. Hopefully that won't take too terribly long. I am so sorry, guys. Go figure. Oh, I have a rock? Where? Oh, you mean my tablet. Ha! Oh, don't make fun of it. We've been through a lot, this tablet and I. Listen to this. Listen to Michael shaming on my poor old tablet. No, seriously, I have actually had this tablet for years. It is kind of a rock. Okay. Hyrule Symbol is saying you've got the right settings.
Hey, Allie.
Yeah?
Hyrule says that you got it. So maybe go back through and look at what Hyrule said.
Let's have a look.
Sorry, I wasn't watching what he was saying and stuff.
And we're back. We hear you. You've got the right settings. No, it wasn't about the tablet.
Okay.
The tablet is still convinced that it doesn't have a driver, which it does have a driver, so we're going to gently punch it in the face until it, I'm so sorry, this is super lame, guys. Alright, sorry about that. The settings she got last time was right in the user preferences. Interesting, because it didn't change anything. Hang on a minute, let's go ahead and run through this for just a second. Since it's already here. Use remove. Okay. Well, now that's going well. Oh well, we'll multitask. This can only end well, right? Oh boy. Wacom display settings. We're successfully. We are going to mess with that later, I guess. If we need to, we will restart. Hopefully that will fix the problem if this doesn't, but I'm going to have faith that this works. No Wacom displays. That's cool. What else you got for me? You do too. Desktop center, preference file, remove. I want to click this button, right? Okay. Oh, now it's in caps. That's great. If not, do all the settings, user preferences. Sorry guys. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. Normally it's much simpler than this. Alright. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not sure what I'm looking for here. So let me... Let's see, maybe it's a port problem. Sometimes the computer's pain. No, it's not a port problem. So, okay. Alright, I'm distracted now. That was fun. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let's try this one. I'm waiting for it to indicate something that it has. Alright, I'm gonna assume that that's a thing. Are we good? Well, it's picking up the tablet, but it's still on both screens, so it's treating it like a mouse. So, one more time. Neat! Awesome. All right, thank you so much. It worked. Not that one. Yes, this one. Thank goodness. Wow, why is that so hard to freaking find? Okay. We are back in action, I hope, pending anything else exploding. Let's hope not. This is great. Wow, thanks everybody for hanging in there. Thank you, Hyrule Symbol. I would never have thought to look there. Normally it's just like, okay, for whatever reason the driver's being a butt, we'll reinstall it and restart. We already restarted, didn't want to do that again. Okay. 30 minutes in and we're back in business. That is shameful. I know we've run into snags before, but I think that one takes the cake, folks. Alright, so, welcome back to Stonehearth Dev stream number 261, Alpha 21 Splash Sketching. Whoa! We fixed this so that my tablet is only drawing in this one monitor instead of trying to do on both, which means if I were to, like, try and draw, like, a Poyo chick, whee! It would have come out looking like this. Which is weird and nobody wants this. It'd be a little not awesome for what it is we're trying to do. And content aware, good lord, listen to you. Background color, thank you. Listen to you, look at that. Even Photoshop is being sassy. I don't need your sass. Alright. Where are my windows? Who keeps moving my stuff around? Let's get brushes. These are... Okay, neat. Very cool. Shape dynamics on pen pressure. Do we want both of these on pen pressure? I guess so. It's a little different. Let's see. Man, 3:26. I am so sorry. I hope you get some sleep, Tobles, but thanks for joining us. Sorry it was off to such a rotten start. Let's try to make that a bit better as I set up my environment just a bit. Get rid of all the stuff that I don't actually use, because, I mean, we don't need it. Hey, where did the layers go? That might be important. Neat. Alright, so, wow, thanks. It was there all along, but I never have that window open, so I'm not used to looking at it. Let's resize this, because we don't need to be that huge. Open up one of these. Alright, so, the theme for the new alpha is traits. It's kind of the main story. It's not to say that there aren't other things. So I find that the more focused we can be on a particular thing, the easier it is to summarize it all up into an illustration. Because it's like, on one hand, we can try to lump everything in all at the same time, but that's going to wind up kind of muddying and cluttering the narrative. At that point, it's like, what is the story that we're trying to tell? Okay, and Michael Handy, that's a pretty cool idea. So Michael Handy's saying, well, you could just put a proud trait, Hearthling finding something, pathfinding, and another who doesn't really want to go there, like lazy or worried. And to do that, they could be looking at a map, and the Hearthling's proud and pointing at it, and the lazy and worried one is like, no, and the other's showing off different traits. So that's a really cool idea. But that's also telling a whole bunch of different stories. So it's like, from a quick read point, like, so we have like, all right, we're gonna doodle. We have like our proud trait is like, we have our proud trait having is like, yeah, and he's got the map. It's gonna be like super thumbnail mode. This is where everything begins. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go that way. It's awesome. So it's like, we're already starting to tell some stories here just with this. So it's like, is this map important? Are we talking about something about exploration? Is this about a trait? Is this, how many things is this about? But I think the key is in the contrast of like the different Hearthlings. So if you have one dude who's like super energetic and super enthusiastic about something, you would show another one who's just like, not into it, bruh. He's just like sitting on his butt. Maybe not, that's not incredibly excited, but for the sake of illustrating that, in this case, contrast is going to be the most valuable. Since in the last splash, we showed, can I have it? Windows, are you going to be a deer? Aw, you are! I miss Mac. But since in the last trait, now I want to make sure that we're not going to repeat ourselves too much. In the last splash, we did show kind of a scale from like super enthusiastic and happy to kind of super down and out and sad. So in as far as like an emotional contrast, I think no matter what, we should do that because it can be comical and really endearing. We should have that resonance at the very least. But showing a difference between more than just like someone who's happy and energetic and someone who's sad and worn down. Oh, well, that's fun. You know what? There we go. I can't be mad at that one because my other computer has that problem all the time. The other thing I want to make sure that we're doing is actually referencing, and again, I don't think this is insanely important, but we want to make sure that we're referencing traits that we're actually going to be showing in the game. Hyrule Symbol is suggesting, how about a Hearthling hugging a talisman and two Hearthlings talking, one being super excited and one panicking because they don't like talking. So like 3 things. So you're saying like we'd have like one Hearthling like, oh man, this shepherd's crook is the best thing ever. Maybe not. Yeah, I worry that if we did something like this, we're gonna start telling a story about a particular class. Having Hearthlings talking to each other and like reacting differently is a pretty cool place. Oh, our friend is back. That's fun. Extreme who looks at food and okay, so BBN is also okay. Wait, let's not get too far ahead. Hey, Sir Lanter, welcome to the stream. Looks at food with disgust and okay, so what we were talking about. I'm sorry. So I want to remember that food. I think someone on the team also mentioned that one. And I kind of think it's a cool idea too because it's simple and it's like a nice, neat little package, and I like that because it's like you want to be able to like look at these and get the gist of it and be like, huh, and then go play the game and like it's a nice little segue in. Hey, Bob Jones, welcome to the stream. You made it for the cool part where we're actually doing things. Okay, so Michael Handy was talking about like the difference between like one Hearthling who's like super into like, yeah, well, we're gonna go do a thing, and the other one who's like super lazy. We can show that in a few ways. Like one is like, okay, if we want to tie it into pathfinding, which again, I don't think we should see how many things we can link in just because it's going to start muddying up the read. And if we're not going to go and do like a whole hide and seek image, that could be kind of much. So, and we can also do that, like, let's say we're showing 2 Hearthlings like working together. You could also show that with building. So, but again, I worry that if we start showing like construction, that's gonna start sending messages like, oh, is there something in this alpha that's specifically about construction? But let's say we have like building. Oh yeah, I want to write down this so I remember conversation and food so we can get to the other ones. But let's draw a little box. Look, it's our window and here's our logo. It's super good. So let's say you have a little box and we've got a building. We would like pitch it into kind of an isometric view so you can look at it top down maybe, or maybe that's not really necessary. It's thumbnails, so it's loose and fast. And you've got like one Hearthling who's like got the hammer in hand, it's like super excited, like building, and it's awesome. Oh, big little smile there. Wow, it has been a while since I've drawn on the Intos. It's a little strange doing the disembodied hand thing. I used to be so used to this. Like drawing on the Cintiq was really hard. Okay, so use your imagination. This is thumbnail line. You know, let's zoom in a little. Why not? All right. So no matter how crystal clear the idea is, whenever I start drawing anything, whether it's for work or personal work, I always start in this phase. And the reason being is because, like, if we were to like take any one of these ideas and like go in and like start perfectly drawing it piece by piece, like you're likely to wind up drawing yourself into a corner. So the value of doing these like loose and fast sketches, like, you know, they're bad, they're ugly looking, but the point is to kind of help you plot the composition before you go in and spend a lot of time refining it. So like it does take a little bit of mental jumping around and filling in those blanks. So let's say to Michael Handy's idea of like showing the contrast of attitudes. So you've got like one Hearthling up here who's like super happy about building. Like we'll do like a ladder here, maybe like put a baby Poyo on one of the ladder rungs because it's got to be in there somewhere. And then you've just got like another dude who's like hanging over the side, like, man, I can't take this. This is the worst. Like having an emotional reaction to it. Again, I worry about like showing like excited and as being kind of a repeat of what we did last time, but it illustrates the concept nicely as these Hearthlings are having individuality. The thing is, like, I also worry that something like this, like I was saying before, is going back into the whole morality meter thing, where it's like, this guy is super happy and this guy is, you know, sad. But maybe, you know, maybe they're not sad. Maybe they're just, you know, actually, I'm really not sure how you would do that. But to be fast, how about a dude in adventure gear walking a path? That'd be rad. Actually, what would be really, like reacting to something. So it's like, let's say you've got your guy in adventure gear. You know, he's got a pack on, like foot out, arm out. I don't want to draw them with things that they don't actually have in game, because then people are going to be like, where can I get that sick walking staff? And then it's like, hey, you can't. It's like, you know, maybe we don't explicitly have a path, but like we make one by parting some fronds. And they're like super excited, and someone else is like, or maybe like what they're doing is like they're looking over here at like, what would they see along the way? I'm trying to think of one that like somebody in the party would like be really excited to see, and then someone else would like be really scared of it. Immediately what comes to mind is a spider, but again, back to the whole like, we don't want to illustrate things that aren't actually in the game. So like sees something, but the other person in the party is just like, whoa, what the heck is that? That's not cool. Maybe not reacting quite this violently, but like, you know, cringing and flinching and like pulling away. The contrast of attitudes. Yeah. Michael Handy is also being like, well, you could make a backdrop of Hearthlings traveling in a direction, dropping the map idea. The proud Hearthling is like pointing a direction, and then like showing how different Hearthlings in the party are reacting to that information. It is a really cool idea again, but it does start to get back into like similar to what we did in the past illustration. If we did like say draw a group of Hearthlings together arguing about something and like voicing like looking as if they all have different opinions about a thing, like maybe they are looking at a map and reacting to it in different ways. That would be another way of showing it. But the problem there is that it shows them all as like having moods, but not necessarily like a particular different trait. Whereas something like this is like, this one is like actually like afraid of something, and one is actually like excited to see it. Or one is like, man, I just want to go to sleep, but the other is just like, adventure awaits! Or like attitudes about building, but again, that starts to fall back into the morality meter. And this starts to leach into a little bit of, I think, Hyrule Symbol pointed out the idea of having Hearthlings talking to each other and showing like different moods in the way that they would do that, or different like a Poyo. Oh my gosh, yes! One dude is seriously phobic of Poyos. It's fine. It's like, hello. It's perfectly alright. Perhaps this is a magical Puyo somehow, or maybe this person over here is just, like, having serious reactions. Hey, Grey Matter, you are not late. In fact, you missed kind of a rocky start. Hyrule Symbol is suggesting, how about a more symmetric drawing with a blacksmith hammering the anvil, both doing the same pose, but one loves the job and one doesn't. Okay, so we're kind of back to this idea a little bit, which could be fun. It's like one guy is like, man, I was born for this. I am the best blacksmith ever. It's like, I don't even know what you're forging. You're forging a sword. Deal with it. And oh, maybe, oh wow, this is gonna get crowded. And then the other guy is just like, should have been a farmer. Being a blacksmith sucks. Said no one ever. Or maybe instead of, because again, we're starting to get into to moods, so maybe like one is like looking off distracted by something. But then that starts to, like, what is it? What is the thing? Is like, are they daydreaming about something else they want to do? Like, are they looking out a window at somebody doing something they'd rather be doing? But then it's like, there's a lot of things that we need to be focusing on, and how do you make anything in particular like the focus of the image? And then you have to consider like how all of that works in. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, sorry. We did have some crazy technical problems. Namely, I could not find the window I was looking for, and bless you all for being so incredibly patient with me. Now, I think we also brought up that food could be a fun way of showing individuality, and it just so happens we are working on traits for hearthlings that eat a ton, for hearthlings that prefer meat, and for hearthlings that prefer vegetables. So that could also be a really fun way of showing differences that may hint a little bit less about the morale meter, like, you know, the enthusiasm for a thing. Because we kind of touched on enthusiasm, again, with the last illustration, and more about, like, preference. So if we centered an illustration like that, now it doesn't even need to be on a table, maybe they're sitting outside on the grass, having a good old hearthling picnic like you do when you don't build tables because you're a monster. I mean, so, like, if we wanted to compare, like, okay, so got one hearthling. I don't really like this dead on the side composition incredibly much, but if it works, it works. And for the time being, just spitballing ideas, I think that's fine. So, you know, you got your fork, little disembodied hand, like looking on in wonder. Like, let's say they have like a plate of berries, looking on in wonder. Oh wow, you're floating, dude. You need a chair. There you go. Thumbnailing. And, like, this guy over here just has, like, a mountain of food. It's just, like, digging in. So, like, here we're showing a difference that's less about, like, how they feel about a thing, and more about, like, a thing that makes them who they are. Just have the angry ones turn green, and that's amazing. Eating berries and dreaming of steak. I love that, Grey Matter. I'm gonna write that down. Because again, the main notes that we want to hit are those little things that make them individual, and less, we want to lean a little less on, like, being emotional about it. Hyrule Symbol saying, you know, the artist likes the idea when the sketch gets more careful and detailed. It's a trap. You gotta be careful. Squidbit is saying, maybe a group of Hearthlings looking at a forest, and one of them is really confident and ready to go, and one is scared and kind of cowering, and one is thinking of a plan, and one is completely disinterested in playing with a Poyo. That's a fun idea. It reminds me a lot of Michael Handy's idea. So like this is like the baby version of that. So I'm gonna draw a circle around it, and we're gonna do this because it makes me feel better. And like so, let's go with ye old scary tree line. These are great trees. You gotta believe that these trees are good. For them to be good. They're not. They're terrible. It's fine. It's fine. Oh man, like maybe like the sky over the trees is like really terrible. I don't want to. See, and I worry about this because it's like you get so into the storytelling with it, and it's like you start to forget that hey, this illustration is about this one thing and not about all these other elements that you're introducing that might become a talking point. And that's forever the danger. So like the ability to keep it concise is actually really valuable. However, we're still going to doodle it because that's a great idea. I think this is adorable. That might be really fun. Like eating berries and looking at a Poyo while drooling a little bit. That might seem cruel and unusual, but it's also really funny. Beware of events. Yes, do beware events. This is going to be a really detailed drawing of an ent. This is your reward for toughing out my technical difficulties. These are its twisted, gnarled branches. These are its cold, dangerous eyes. It's mad. It's really mad. It's mad beyond reason. It's got so many elbows. Its head's on fire. What's happening? Run. Save yourself. Cool, so that happened. Anyway. Oof. Got dizzy there for a second. I think actually that it would be really cool to be friends with the Entlings. Or really if there was an ability or something that you could do at some point to where like the monster raids you could do things other than beat them up. But I don't know. I don't know if we will ever have something like that planned or if that's even the kind of game that we're making. I always want to be friends with the monsters though. So yeah, we have like a bunch of Hearthlings and like one's like, hey, let's go over there. Like, you know, I've got my pack, we're ready, everything's fine. You know, maybe it's a footman even. So it's like they're prepared, it's fine. See, I feel bad about this because it's not really like we have a concept of scouting parties. But in the fiction for like the mental chewing gum that is like Hearthlings that do things together and go on adventures. And there's like this one Hearthling who's just like, oh, I really don't know, that looks really scary. Let's do like, you know, like, you know, maybe we should, like, instead go back to this field of flowers. Oh man, Rex705 is suggesting maybe a town together and they're all different, showing all the traits. If I could just spend nothing but 2 weeks, like, drawing that, I have the softest of soft spots for I Spy images. Like, crazy, busy town images, where like everywhere you look something different is going on, and I would jump on that. If only there was like literally nothing else to do. So this person's like, oh, that's the worst idea ever. Don't go in that forest. There's like this flaming, he's like thinking, this is flaming tree monster, I'm sure. Except we don't do this, but in my mind that's what's happening. I was like, no, it'll be great. It's perfect. You'll like it. And then like the other person's like getting distracted by a butterfly or something. Oh wait, no, not a butterfly. Let's do a Poyo. I want to do a butterfly, but like, you know, they've also got a pack because they're part of it. Poyo's ready for anything. The Poyo was born ready. The elbow monster. Exactly. Alright. So, wow, we've actually been noodling around a bunch of different stuff here. This is super cute. I wanna mess with that somewhere. I really like walking along and reacting differently to something. I think that's another really nice way of doing it. This idea, I mean, from the beginning, a lot of you have called out like having two hearthlings reacting to, and I think honestly, this is just another version of this idea of having two hearthlings reacting in different like on different extremes to one thing as a way of showing, hey, they have individuality. That's a really cool idea. I love using food as another way of showing that. Um, let's see about. I mean, we could also like just. It's hard to do in a thumbnail because it's like the idea of like this heartling is proud, this heartling is timid, this heartling like different traits, not just different moods. So like having them all like hanging out together in a party would be really cool for that. What else we got? All right, just wanted to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything because it's like doodling and talking and reading at the same time. Yeah, like traits where heartlings prefer meat over veggies. It's what Real Omega was saying. I agree. I think that's a really nice one. Warp is asking, so sort of tangential question, is there a mechanic in the game for dream jobs, where a heartling will get slightly buffs if you make them fulfill their dream job despite their attributes? I believe that's actually something we're chipping away at, where it's like, they have this, there's definitely a job that they really, really want, and they will get like a little exciting, wow, you Photoshop? You hanging in there? Cool. That's nice. So like having a scene like this where two are working together on a thing. I could also see farming as being a really nice one for this. And I like the idea of something where they'd be out in the open, where you have more space in the background to plant an alternative for one of the heartlings to look up and notice. And Hyrule Symbol is also reprising the talking heartlings one might be good too. It's not really emotions on how they like or dislike talking, which is true. Like having, sorry, my leg's asleep. So let's grab this guy and poke at it for a second. I keep coming back to this. You know what? Let me stop here for just a second. Eating berries. That's an eating face. It's super abbreviated. Everything is abbreviated Doodle Land. Sitting on the grass, because that's what you do when you're eating berries and dreaming of steak. We don't really have a concept of forks, do we? I guess maybe. It's like this beautiful hazy steak, or actually a roast pollo would read really well and be horrifying because we always put pollos in the splashes, whether you can see them or not. Whee! Roast pollo! It's like on a beautiful golden platter, like shedding a single tear. This image is very funny to me. What if you had a scene with a big oak tree, says Warp, with a heartling admiring it, a tired farmer heartling, and a heartling just sitting under it looking famished and thinking about meat. Well, maybe we could work this into it. Oh, I'm sorry, Flaming Elbow Monster. You're amazing, but you have to go to that great Flaming Elbow Monster place in the sky, as they say, and sometimes for no one says that, I'm sorry. Alright, let's resize that so we have more room. We're spitballing, so we're just throwing things out and coming up with things. So, like, it's this really crappy looking tree that I'm gonna draw really fast. Looks like broccoli already. I shouldn't say things like, this is a really crappy looking thing, because it's like, it's a thumbnail, it's doing its job. If we don't thumbnail, then we have a less easy time drawing awesome things later. So let's say if it's an oak tree, it has like big sprawling branches. And I also think that's funny, especially if it's like a farmer looking up and being like, "Ah, my handiwork. It's amazing, isn't it?" So like farmer hat, hand on the hip, got your garden utensils. It's like, man, that sure is great that you grow a lot of vegetables. Can we please get some meat up in here? I feel like it's a symptom of being an artist. You look at your thing and you know that there's a million things you could do better. But it's a good thing to not just be like, man, this is terrible. I'm awful. Because it's like everything's a work in progress. Well, they're organized only in that you guys were here when we drew them, so we are all on the same page as to what these scribbles represent. But no kidding, when we find the one that we're attached to, that one actually does feed into the final compositional drawing. Like, I wish I had them on this machine, but I can actually, for any of you who weren't here for like the, you know what? I bet we do have it here, now that I think about it. I don't think any of this got wiped off. Art streams? Party, desert, workshop tapestry. Is this what I think it is? Yeah. Okay, so this right here is an example of a thumbnail that gets graduated to like a concept drawing. And this is for the one that I'm sure you can tell if you were here at the beginning of the stream, but this image is for this. And yeah, so this phase, even though it's like doodly and crazy looking, is super important because it helps us work out all these compositional questions. It's like you go in knowing, yeah, we're gonna draw a super twisting maze of stairs and corridors and it's gonna be great. Where do you start? You start with a really loose drawing that just lets you kind of tackle the whole problem from a bird's eye view, and then you use that as a guide as you go in for the details. So I bet some of you still remember when we did this and it actually looked a lot crazier before we got it to this point. And it's the same thing for these. Oh wow, I left things typed into the... We left things typed into the thingamabob there. I could have sent you all a secret message that had no context whatsoever, other than to confuse you. I once accidentally did that. I sent a friend of mine a text that was simply the word 6. I decided not to tell her anything about it. She still wonders about it to this day. So actually, I think that this has like a narrative relationship here that has some serious legs. Like a farmer who's like, I have grown beautiful vegetables and they're amazing and I love what I do. And then like somebody like actually eating it and being like, yeah, it'd be good. Some roast pollo would be good. So that's fun, and I like it because it like ties in this. It ties in kind of this idea a little bit, and it shows like Hearthlings in their element. Conversation. So, thanks guys. Thanks so much. All right, so I want to go just a bit longer since we had such a rough start getting into all this, and it's like I feel terrible about that. I'm gonna make sure the next time we do that everything is in a good place before. Actually, I have an idea of something that would be fun to finish on for anybody who was here the last time we had an evening art stream. So this guy here, I feel like, is the best little sproutling for the idea of conversations. Then again, conversations is kind of its own feature, but it's okay. We're spitballing. Don't think too hard about it right now. So it's not enough to just have them like standing around chatting. They've got to like really be showing it. So like, this is a really proud dude. He's sticking his chest out. He's like, yeah. He's like got the little feet. And we got like the kind of like tiny shy person back here. They're not scared. They're just, little But like, maybe someone was like kind of skeptic, like, you know, I hear what you're saying, but you're full of beans. Like, maybe they're like thinking really hard about it. Like this person over here is just like, I love having them like interacting with something, like maybe it's a book, maybe it's a map. Alright, what else? What else? Michael Handy says, take your food idea, add them by a fire pit, is dark, and another is scared of the dark. We did that a little bit. You're full of beans. Yeah, cool. Oh, you did. Squidbit, no. Another is scared of what could be out there, another is angry that someone's not sharing, another is proud of making the fire. That's a nice way of containing it. So that graduates this a little bit to a fire pit scene. Now we have to be careful because we'll run the risk of repeating the anniversary image where we have a lot of Hearthlings sitting around a fire pit. But in that one, only one of them is terrified. So like, don't forget starving. No. Have a good evening, Joe Maxter. Thanks for coming. Alrighty, what do we got here? Angry about not sharing. You gotta be careful with stuff like this too, because it's like you don't want to show somebody from behind. So it's like, hey, don't hog all the whatever that is. Like maybe they have like a plate of berries, and like somebody's just like eating them all. So like this guy's the glutton. It's just like really like, yeah, berries. It's like just has tons and tons of berries, and they were on this like, okay, you know what? It's a basket because plates are dumb. Right now they are anyway. And it's like it's kind of empty, so like maybe this person's like, oh my gosh, where'd they all go? Like they have just one berry on their plate, and this person's just got tons. This person over here, like maybe they made the fire and they're super proud of it. It's kind of hard to show without them like holding a log or something. We don't really have like instruments of fire tending visible in the game. We'll put them there as kind of a placeholder for now. You know, scared of what might be in the dark, as you know. Okay, this is straight out of the anniversary illustration at this point, so I'm gonna have to think of something. Like, did you hear that? This is fun though, I like that. That's really good. Add your Poyo. Oh my gosh, you know what would be a great way to add the Poyo is be like in the background if we did like similar to the anniversary, but if we did like a tree line or like a darkened townscape in the background, like just the silhouettes, you could just like put the Poyo on a branch silhouetted by moonlight. Oh, the guy with the one berry could be the one dreaming of steak. Oh man. Actually, yeah, you know what? Because like these guys are having an interaction where he's like, "Wait, you took all the berries, you butthole," and the guy over here can like have berries and just be like, "Man, you know it'd be great, steak." He's dreaming of conversation. Let's fix that. So yeah, steak would be awesome. T-bone. It's spooky red eyes. So this has turned into kind of a dinner conversation. So, right there. It's like they're all reacting in a different way to this one basket. That's really cool. I love the way a lot of these ideas are tying in together. And that tends to be what happens when you get like this sort of free writing, free doodling jam session out on paper. Could be in the desert. That's true. We've actually done a lot of Ascendancy art lately, I feel like. We could totally do that. We should think about that. Or the goblin could be with them and looking at them like, what? And another Hearthling is angry at him. Oh man, I don't know. If we did have a goblin in the image, I think we would want them to be incognito. Like, maybe on a first read, you're like, oh man, why is that archer got their hood up? And then you're like, oh, that's a goblin. Again, though, we got to be really careful about showing stuff like that because we don't want to tell players who kind of aren't in on it that, like, hey, you're gonna have a goblin in your town. It's gonna be great. And I mean, normally when there are goblins in your town, it's only bad things. Hey, Eldred. I will stop at nothing to draw goblins all the time, though. It's the best. This is cute, though. I like this a lot. Alrighty. What else? What else? I think we've gotten to a lot of these. Could be a goblin wearing a Poyo costume. It's just their head, though, because everything else is just, like, too small. So it's, like, at the face cut out, and they're like, nobody here but us chickens. It's, like, totally unconvincing. It's, like, made out of cardboard and paper mache. I don't think they have those things. It's, like, just pulled up over their head like a hood. I don't think that would fit, but I think it's fun mental chewing gum. Ah, yeah, Eldred. Sorry, you just got here. So what we're doing right now is we're spitballing ideas to fuel the splash screen for Alpha 21, and we're trying to do something that captures in like a nice bite-sized visual bit traits. We've had a lot of really fun ideas. Like we're like, hey, let's show Hearthlings reacting differently to a certain like circumstance or creature, object, or job they're doing. Like, and these are all thumbnail lands, so like we've all been tooling away at these for a little while. So like here we've got two Hearthlings that are like building, and one is just like really not feeling it. One is super into it and happy with their work. Here you've got like two Hearthlings walking along a path, and one is super excited about this chicken. Who wouldn't be? Poyos are great. And the other is recoiling in terror. Two blacksmiths working together on something, and one is like looking out the window at something they'd rather be doing. Might be a little too subtle, but you know, again, we're throwing things out there and seeing what sticks. And currently we're doing explorations about Hearthlings having different reactions to food. A parody of goblins chatting. Yeah, that definitely, to what Michael Handy is saying. So Rex is saying, hey, do a parody of goblins chatting. And to what Michael Handy is saying, I thought of that too, but she didn't want peeps to misunderstand that they would get to play goblins. And that's the main thing. So the trouble is, it's like, there are so many things in this world that are, in the world of Stonehearth, that are just incredibly fun ideas to put together in the space of an illustration where, you know, you're not bounded by things like, hey, that doesn't actually work in game. But because we're actually using this to basically act as like a cover for the new alpha, we want to be really careful the message we're sending to players. Because, you know, not everybody comes to the streams. Some people, that's the first time they will have seen Stonehearth. And we don't want to be like, hey, look at this whole thing with goblins chatting together, and then they start playing the game and realize it's not really about that. So that's kind of the value of making sure that you're absolutely communicating the message you mean to be, and not going overboard and going too far with things that like send the wrong messages. This is why things like this, I mean, even though they're not as exciting, they're more suited to the task because they encapsulate one idea really cleanly and focus on communicating that really, really well. Though seriously, again, if we had nothing but time to do this, I would be all over the I Spy image. That would be so good. Like having like a full-on townscape where you just like peek into it and everybody is reacting and interacting in all the different ways. That would be so fun. I would love it. Ah. All right. But I think we've got some really good ideas just up and coming here. Minecraft Perkabeth says, what? Not everyone watches the stream. What's wrong with them? Well, they'll come around. But anyway, that's our mission as illustrators doing things for the splash screen, is to make sure that we don't send the wrong symbols. We set accurate expectations for what our game is about. And we have a lot of fun doing it anyway. I mean, how can you not? No matter what we do, it's gonna come out super cute. Like this is another like nice tidy little scene. I do worry about like the tiny little window. I feel like something like this would be much more suited to a farmscape type situation. Oh, hi, Crop Tool, you sure are. Oh, everything technological is just being so sassy today. Of course, if we draw a farm plot, that means we have to draw a farm plot, and heaven knows that takes forever. How many plants? Hundreds of plants. Do a little fence in the background. Like maybe it comes like all the way into the foreground so we don't have to like keep drawing boundaries and borders. It's kind of the fun part is like blurring, like hiding those edges to help you feel like you're looking in on a scene and like you're in the scene and not like you're just looking at a little spot illustration. It can be really hard to do though. Like there's fence in the background. You've got two farmers. Like, you know, got the garden hoe here, like working away. And the other's like looking off into the distance. I don't know, I'd like a trapper hanging out with a fox. Which is clearly awesome. Pretend this is the trapper outfit. Wow, this sure is a fox. Whoop, there it is. That's exactly what it should look like all the time. Like in the distance, you'd have like the silhouette of the town against the sky or something. I draw a lot of tree lines, so maybe we should try to not draw a tree line this time. Real Omega is saying instead of a full farm, maybe a backyard garden growing some herbs with a new building going up. Yeah, that would be fun. BBN is asking, is there a way to see all the thumbnails you did throughout the development? You mean like for different splash screens? I'd have to collect them all. I don't think they're all on this machine. But that would actually be pretty cool. Michael Handy is suggesting on the farmer idea of the one hearth by the tree as the farm proudly takes his crops to the stockpile. You could have a rushing hearthling like, oh my god, I need to get this put away. Also in the scene, in the background, you could have a footman looking proudly at his sword. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. It starts to scatter out, like it starts to spread out a little bit. Wait, Hyrule was like, how about Hearthling running away from one that wants to talk and the one chasing being all like, wait, why are you running? I wonder if that would, because when Hearthlings want to talk to each other, they sometimes chase each other. And in my mind, it always looks like this. Like the one Hearthling's like, oh my god, leave me alone, I just want to build this house. And the other Hearthling is like, but you don't understand, I thought of a joke. It's really good, you won't regret it. Oh man, it kind of looks like they're playing tag. New needs more speed lines, not going fast enough. ALB55 is saying, how deep is the game? I mean, is the game as deep as custom building and altering the world seem like? How deep is the game? So, we don't have things like terraforming, but insofar as being able to construct amazing things in the game, yes. You can build pretty outstanding stuff. There's a lot to do, and we are constantly adding things to it to broaden and tighten the experience. Do a speech bubble with a Poyo, so Representing a jokester, oh no. Hyrule symbol should be implemented in any scene representing a jokester. Maybe so. Do a speech bubble with a Poyo, so why did the Poyo cross their eye? Okay, that might... No. No, we're not going there. It's too late. It's too late, I'm sorry. I've forgotten how to draw Poyos. All lies. I assure you, I have not. Terrible. Terrible. To get to the other side! It's hilarious! Oh wait, you're a farmer. You get a hat, which means we gotta move these guys. Frame the shot a little differently. Oh yeah. I think you can find many ways to represent a jokester. Okay, we definitely have a lot to go on. And sadly, we are kind of winding down a bit in as far as time. Now you'll be that Poyo guy forever, says, oh, Hyrule Symbol says, now I'll be that Poyo guy forever, I see. Okay, so sadly we are kind of getting to that point where it's time to start winding down. But I think this is plenty to go on. Like, thanks guys so much for coming in and sharing your ideas and like getting excited about all this stuff with me. This is a lot of fun to do. Like, the thumbnailing is super loosey-goosey and crazy, but I always look forward to it because it's just like, you just jump in and start throwing things out there, and like, nothing really counts yet, so you can just go nuts. And it's a little intimidating, like, jumping in and being like, cool, so let's just see what happens, and not really having a clear idea of where to go. But at the same time, like, this is always a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you guys can come here and be a part of it. And I hope you look forward to seeing how it all turns out. I'm sure that something in here is gonna wind up making an appearance. Like, this has all provided some pretty amazing starting points. Real Omega, thank you for pushing for Raya's Children art. Oh no, I'm sorry, Bruno Supremo. Thanks for making it. But yeah, if we should see if it would be appropriate to do. I mean, yeah, this is gonna apply to everybody. We've been drawing a lot of, yeah, that would be cool. I like red. Red is great. Now I'm rambling because my brain is going off in different directions. So, to wind down just a little bit, for everybody who came to the last art stream that we did, we worked on some concept art. And I think I signed off last time telling y'all that I would kind of come back and show you where we wound up with that. So, let's see. Yay, they are here, cool. So when we did our very first quarterly stream, and sorry for everybody who attended the quarterly stream, this is going to be repeat information for you, but for anybody who didn't come to that, we showed off a little bit of this, and we talked a lot about the kind of huge art direction project that we're all undertaking right now, and it's immense. And what we did the last time we all got together was we worked on, now, do we have it in here? Let me look at all these thumbnails. Okay, yeah, we worked on this last time. So we like did this scene and we were like showing opportunities for shape language to tell stories and just like creating a scene, like, you know, seeing what that looks like, like putting things off at angles, doing pointy trees, doing twisty shapes when things kind of got away from a Hearthling settlement and having the Hearthling settlement be like everything nice and neat and in rows. So this is where that wound up. So actually we wound up finishing most of it on the stream. I did not need to touch this much more after we got off the stream. But this scene wound up going in and fueling a few more explorations that we worked on in January. And I'm glad. Michael Handy, no! Have mercy on me. He's saying, that log is still sticking out. Shame, that's such an eye for detail. I mean, I guess I'm supposed to do that too. But like the whole idea with that was like we were pushing this concept of shape language in Stonehearth, where, you know, it's like we have the cube, and if we start introducing other shapes, or even like assemblances of shapes and turning things on angles and putting things in different configurations, the cube then starts to create this idea of like safety and stability. And that's something that going forward would be really valuable and fun to push. So here's like a little doodle that I made about that. How like the more off-kilter things get as you start introducing those new ideas, the more those things begin to tell a story about what's safe and familiar and what's kind of mysterious and maybe not so great to play with. And along those lines, we also went in and I took a screenshot of this little town that I built during a playtest, and similar to the black and white drawing, went over that and started applying some of those ideas to here. And this was super fun. So like going in and reducing a lot of the really cramped repetition, like finishing it up in ways that like cleaned it up and elevated the look of it, like adding space and breathing room. Like all within the world of Stonehearth, but kind of looking ahead, similar to what we were doing with the black and white image of like, what could we do if we could do anything at all? So this was super fun. And other than this, since the last time we got together, we just did some really simple like vignettes and studies of more small spaces, but this time kind of using color. And these especially were about like, so in the black and white image and in that paint over you just saw, like, we start to open up the question of like, hey, what happens if you bring a triangle into it? What happens to shape language? What's the story we start telling? So the point of creating these images was very much, it wasn't so much about like what happens when we add things, and it was more about like, if we're using just cubes and color and light and, you know, things that we already have, how much can we do? How can we like very simply and effectively telegraph complicated ideas? And like, how far do we even need to go? So these were experiments along those lines, and they were really a great experience to make. And I just wanted to share some of this with all of you since you were here for the beginning, and yeah, we did sign off with kind of a, hey, when I come back, I'll show you everything that we made. So yeah, Field of Flowers. And again, like just using very simple shapes and very simple ideas just to see how much we can do. More snow! It's really tempting. I want to draw snowscapes so bad. I want to draw weather. I want to draw everything. But we have to focus or nothing gets done. So thanks everybody for who came to that last stream and kind of came and watched all that happen. And I hope that was super fun. And this also was super great. I'm really, really grateful to have everybody's input and opinions and feedback through like the thumbnailing process. Like, again, this is always a blast and it's super fun to do with everybody. Like, I definitely miss doing the weekly streams with everyone. So this is fun. This is fun to get to get everybody together and start throwing ideas around again. So look forward to the splash screen for Alpha 21. We'll see which ideas went out and which ideas kind of recede or morph into new ones even. Like these are all starting points. And I'm like pumped at how many we've got. So yeah, super cool. All right, everybody have a fantastic the rest of your day, and come back next Thursday for a whole nother stream. We'll be up to all kinds of stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, everybody take care, and thanks so much for coming.